Hey, hi everyone. I'm going to go over some of the examples that was covered in the last lesson. Just to clarify a few things, 'cause I understand that the cursor wasn't appearing, which made things probably a bit confusing. So, what one of the main objectives of the last lesson was to determine the exact values using special triangles. Okay, so two triangles you have to memorize, and these are them. So you have your isosceles, which are 45, 45. Now the side lengths are 1 over root 2, 1 over root 2, and 1. Okay, and then for the 60, 30, the opposite to the 60 is the root 3 over 2. The opposite to the 30 is 1/2. And the hypotenuse is 1. Okay. So when we're figuring out an exact value, like without using a calculator, here's a question, say find the exact value of 120 degrees. What you have to do is you have to, your terminal arm is right here. Okay, it always starts on your x-axis like that. There's your terminal arm, okay? And it's going to rotate counterclockwise 120 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to draw it over here now, about 120. Just do it approximately. So let's say it's 120 degrees. I'm not going to put the arrow on. Okay, so it's 120 degrees of rotation. Okay, so that this angle right here is 120 degrees. So the cosine, okay, remember that the cosine, so now at this point right here, I'm just going to draw from the tip, always go to the x-axis. Okay, never to the y, always to the x-axis. Now, if this is 120, that means that the angle inside here, which is called the related acute angle right here, is 60 degrees. Why? Because 120 plus 60 has to add up to 180. Now, if that's a 60 degree, all we do is go back to our triangle. Here's our 60 degree triangle, right? And we just put those side lengths in. But now we have to determine if they're positive or negative. So across from the 60 goes the root 3 over 2. So here we're going to go root 3 over 2. And because this line is above the axis, that is a positive number. And then this right here, because it's left of the axis, it's a negative number. So that's going to be negative 1/2. And the hypotenuse is always positive, which is 1. Okay, so the cosine of 120 is adjacent, which is negative 1/2 over hypotenuse of 1. So it's just negative 1 over 2. Done. Final answer. Okay, now we're going to go with 315. So same thing here, right? You have your terminal arm, and we're going to, terminal arm is right here, right? And we're going to rotate that 315 degrees. So we're going to go 90 to 1270 all the way to 315 is going to bring us down here. It doesn't matter how long you draw the terminal arm. So that is 315 degrees. Now the important thing is we have to get the angle between the terminal arm and the x-axis. That's called the related acute angle. So in this case right here, the related acute is going to be 45 degrees. And the reason is because from here to here is 315, which means the remaining has to be 45 because they have to add up to 360. Okay, so that's always your first step. Second step is you're just going to draw a line all the way up to the x-axis. Okay, that's step 2. And then step 3, you're going to go back to your special triangle and figure out which triangle it is. And it's always based on the related acute angle. So it's going to be our first triangle. So now we put our side lengths. So this right here is going to be now negative 1 over root 2 because it's below the axis. This is to the right of the axis, so it's going to be positive 1 over root 2. And the hypotenuse is always positive, and it's 1. Okay, so sine now is opposite divided by hypotenuse, which is negative 1 over the square root of 2. Okay, good. 210. Okay, 210 is going to be over here. Okay, which means the related acute angle must be 30 degrees. Again, because from there to there is 180, and 180 plus 30 is 210. So the related acute is 30, step 1. Step 2, draw your line up. And step 3 is you're going to put in your triangle. So now we're at the second triangle, but this one's different because it's the 30, right? So opposite the 30 goes 1/2. So opposite the 30 goes 1/2, and it's going to be negative 1/2 because it's below the axis. The adjacent is going to be negative root 3 over 2, and the hypotenuse is always 1. So the cosine is negative root 3 over 2 over 1, which is just negative root 3 over 2. Done. Okay, next one, tan 225. So again, that's going to be in quadrant 3. Okay, step 1. Step 2, related acute. This must be 45. Step 3, draw the line and put our numbers in negative 1 over root 2, negative 1 over root 2, and 1. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent, and because they're both the same, it equals 1. Good. Okay, next one. Okay, sine of 300, same thing. Now we're going to be in quadrant 4. Related acute is 60. There we go. Step 2, draw the line to the x-axis. Step 3, put in your sides. This is going to be negative root 3 over 2. This is going to be 1 over 2 and 1. Because I'm asking for the sine, we don't really need to put the adjacent. I put it in anyway. So we're going to have the sine is equal to negative root 3 over 2. Okay, cos of 150. Cos of 150 is here. Related acute is 30. Draw the line. Across from the 30 goes the 1/2. This is negative root 3 over 2 and 1. So the cos is the adjacent over hypotenuse, negative root 3 over 2. Okay, excellent. And then the last type, these ones right here are interesting because the angle of rotation actually falls on an axis. So if we look here, right, 90 degrees is going to be right here. Right, there's 90. I'll just extend that up a little bit. Okay, so that's your 90 degree right there. Okay, so the cosine of this one right here, this isn't a special triangle, obviously, but the cosine, what the cosine is? The cosine is just the base of the triangle, right? So the base of the triangle here is actually 0. Okay, so remember, cosine is the base of the triangle. Sine is the height of the triangle. So if we go 270, that's going to rotate us right down here. So the height of the triangle is, again, the hypotenuse is 1. So the opposite is just going to equal the hypotenuse, so it's going to equal negative 1. And that is it.